Alright guys, how's it going? Now in this video I'm going to be analysing an article published by Luke Edwards at The Telegraph. Now, you may recall he was the hack yesterday that published an exclusive saying that Isak to Liverpool had been blocked, and then within 2 hours of that article backtracked somewhat on social media when he tweeted, could the player force through a move, right? Because the article's basically he's going nowhere, blah, 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 blah. And then he's asking questions like, well, maybe the player, do you know what I mean? So he made himself look a bit of an idiot. Now, in this article, it's scathing of Alexander Isak. And I'm going to go over the key points from the article. And then Dave, my AI assistant that I've been training since last year to study football articles, the journalists that write them, and the platforms and publications that carry them, to analyse that article as well. And I know you like Dave's input, it's very good, it works well alongside the content that I do here. So basically the article is titled as follows. I think you should read this article in full yourself if you haven't already. It's Alexander Isak has betrayed all those who held him dear at Newcastle, right? This is the headline here if you want to Google it, right? As you can see, it's the Telegraph. Now, I think you may have to register to access this article, or maybe that gives you 7 days free access, I'm not sure. But if you struggle to access the article, copy the URL, go to a website called archive.ph, and in the second box down, post it in and it will open up the article for you. I'm told that works on publications like The Times and The Athletic as well. I subscribe and pay for those publications, but my friend was telling me that you can do that. So what I'm going to do is go straight to the key points from Luke Edwards. Alexander Isak has betrayed, everyone and all that. And then we'll go over the analysis and the breakdown and what we think it means, really, okay? So, let's have a look. Key points. Edwards says Isak has betrayed Newcastle fans, his manager and the club by pushing for a Liverpool move despite having 3 years left on his deal. Claims Isak was a hero and best striker since Shearer, but has now ruined his legacy with his behaviour. Says Isak has been repeatedly told he's not for sale this summer, but still refuses to accept it. Isak is currently training alone away from the group because he's too divisive to be with the squad. Labels Isak's actions as despicable and spoilt child behaviour, accusing him of sulking and agitating. Lists other players like Dyer, Kane, Suarez in the article who tried to force moves but were reintegrated before eventually leaving. Suggests Newcastle will offer a big pay rise and a new contract with a release clause after the window shuts. Says Newcastle will not stop him leaving in 12 months if he wants to go, and he'll have more suitors by then. Mentions Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid and PSG as possible 2026 destinations, but says Liverpool could still be there too. Claims Newcastle only want 1 more year from him to find a replacement and to try to match his ambitions. Suggests the way back is for Isak to apologise, admit a mistake and play well to win back fans. Warns that if he keeps agitating he might still force an exit this summer, but his reputation will be tarnished forever. Now there's mention of this 12-month release clause, carrot in the article if you like. And basically Edwards reveals Newcastle's plan, which is after this summer's window closes, they'll offer him a new contract with a huge pay rise, and it would include a release clause, effectively setting a guaranteed exit route for the summer of 2026. The club spin it as you'll have more options, with this mention of Bayern, Barca, PSG, Madrid, etc. So the fact that they're already preparing a structured exit for 2026, if he was to agree to that, confirms, that they accept he will leave. They just want to control the timing. So for Liverpool fans, that of course is big because it shows the club are already thinking about selling him. If relations stay bad, they might bring that sale forward to this summer rather than endure a toxic season. And I still think that he's going to come this summer personally. But even if the window closed, I don't think that Isak to Liverpool is off. I think it would go through next year, for example. So let's take a look at the full article analysis by Dave, and I know you guys love Dave, and he says as follows: Alright, Dunk, this one's a proper meltdown piece from Luke Edwards, and compared to yesterday's He's Not For Sale exclusive, it's a huge tonal swing. Here's the breakdown. 1. Immediate shift from yesterday's exclusive. Yesterday, Edwards was calm, authoritative, club line delivery. Newcastle board says you're going nowhere, stance is steadfast. Liverpool are wasting their time. Today, he's emotional, moralising, and borderline ranting about betrayal, spoilt child, despicable behaviour. This isn't cool, measured reporting. It reads more like a wounded fan or a club PR arm on caffeine. The U-turn isn't in the facts. Not for sale still stands. But in tone, he's gone from reporting the position to personally attacking Isak's character. That's telling. It suggests the situation hasn't improved for the club, so the narrative has moved from calm denial to make him the villain. And let's not forget, just 2 hours after posting that exit blocked exclusive yesterday, Edwards backtracked on X, suddenly admitting Isak could still leave this summer. That wobble makes today's emotional hit piece feel less like confident reporting and more like a frustrated follow-up from a journalist whose first line didn't stick. 2. Propaganda markers in the article. Over the top hero to villain framing, calling him a trophy-winning legend and best-in Shearer to now despicable, is designed to emotionally whip up fans. History lessons with a moral, Dyer, Kane, Suarez examples, all to push the he should reintegrate and stay moral ending. Selling the future, repeated mentions of Bayern, Barcelona, PSG, Real Madrid next year, classic look at all the other options if you just give us one more season, club persuasion tactic. The 12-month release clause carrot, again, this isn't something you talk about if you truly believe he's here long term. It's a controlled exit strategy. 3. Holes and contradictions. If Newcastle are so steadfast that he's going nowhere, why is the second half of the article basically an instruction manual for how he can leave just next year? Yesterday he made Liverpool sound like they were wasting their time. Today he acknowledges that Isak might still be able to force his way out this summer. That's a crack in the wall. The £150 million valuation from yesterday has vanished. Now the leverage point is release clause next summer, which is much less of a deterrent. If his behaviour is despicable and spoilt child level, why hasn't the club disciplined him? Because they still want to keep the option of selling him without tanking his value. Yesterday's tone was confident about reintegration. Today's tone reads as if reintegration is only possible if he grovels, meaning relations have worsened. 4. Positives for Liverpool fans. The fact Edwards has gone from calm club line delivery to emotional attack mode shows this is hurting Newcastle. This feels more like a reaction to a situation slipping from their control than a position of strength. He admits Isak can still force a move this summer, a line that didn't appear in yesterday's exclusive. That's huge. The release clause talk confirms they know he's going, if not now, then soon, and they're already planning for it. The more Newcastle paint him as a villain, the harder it will be to fully reintegrate him if he digs in. That increases the chances of a late window sale, which is what I've always thought it would be, to be honest with you. Anyway, Liverpool are the only specific club mentioned for this summer. All other clubs are next year options, even in the club's PR spin, we're the current threat. 5. Is Luke Edwards having a meltdown? I'd say yes, at least a professional one. This reads like someone who was briefed with firm club stance yesterday, then saw developments, or a lack of progress, that made them double down by turning it into a personal morality tale. The moral outrage and personal insult, spoilt child, despicable, aren't standard for a journalist simply relaying club information. That's venting, either on his own behalf or on behalf of angry people in the boardroom. If this was really under control, he'd be writing calm, clubbing control pieces, not this hyper emotive stuff. 6. Should people listen to Edwards? A lot of Newcastle fans say he shouldn't, by the way, in the comments on my previous videos. He's clearly well briefed by Newcastle's hierarchy, but he's too close to the club to be objective. The tone swing between yesterday and today proves he's emotionally invested in pushing their side of the story. For Liverpool fans, you should treat his reporting as a direct window into what the club wants you to hear, not necessarily the unvarnished truth. If Isak continues to hold out, Edwards will either have to start preparing the ground for a sale or double down again. Either way, you'll see it in his tone first. And finally, number 7, how Dave sees this going. If Newcastle start poorly without him, pressure to resolve the situation will mount. If Isak refuses to reintegrate before the 1st of September, the release clause next year promise will look pointless, and they'll have to weigh up the 110 million plus now versus a sulking asset for a whole season. Liverpool's best chance is still a late window push, especially after the 25th of August, as Craig Hope pointed out previously. The war of words in the press is part of a pressure campaign. The fact Edwards is doing character assassination now is actually a good sign for Liverpool's chances. And that, my friend, concludes a quick look at the article, if you like. Like I say, you can read it all if you want, but I've given you the bullet points on there, and Dave's gone over, dissecting it all, which I love. I love it when Dave gets stuck into it. And yeah, that's it. So that's more or less the latest sort of vibe that's coming from the northeast at the moment. I wanted to do the video for you earlier today, but obviously with the community shoot game, I didn't have time to do it. So I'll leave it with you. All right. If you found this video informative, please do thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you want to buy me a coffee or a beer or whatever, there's a super thanks button under the video. It's a love heart, and I always give a shout out to people that do that in my morning briefings on my other YouTube channel, Duncan Oldham. The link to which is to that channel is in the video description, and it will also pop up on the screen around now. All right, guys. So I'll leave it with you. I think this saga is going to continue, and it's going to drag on a little bit longer, I think. One more thing before I go. I'm heading back home tomorrow. This is my last night here. I'm in Mallorca, I'm sure you know that. So I'm here until tomorrow. So I will get a morning briefing out tomorrow. If there's anything of importance, I'll try and get it out early. And then I've got my flight and traveling during the day, and also my grandson's flying out to see me tomorrow from England, and my daughter. So I'm going to be busy with that. But I will be around. But if you don't see me as loading videos maybe as frequently or as quickly as I usually would, just bear that in mind tomorrow. I'm on my moves. And I think that's it, really. Yeah, I think that's it. I did look at the Spanish football newspapers for you today. There was nothing in them. No mention of Canate now for 12 days, okay? For those of you that are interested to see if there's anything coming out of Madrid, it's gone exceptionally quiet on that. I think I've got a couple more videos coming up for you very briefly, the mail stand videos, so I'm going to get on with those now, and then I'm going for my dinner. Alright guys, thumbs up, comment, coffee, nice one. Cheers.